Life often begins to change quietly before it changes clearly. When God starts guiding someone, the shift is rarely dramatic. It feels subtle. Thoughts deepen. Silence speaks louder. You may notice that what once satisfied you no longer brings peace. This is not confusion. This is awareness beginning to grow. Many people expect God's path to feel exciting first, but it often feels unfamiliar. You start questioning your direction. You reflect more than before. Your heart searches for meaning instead of comfort. This internal shift is one of the earliest indicators that something spiritual is unfolding. God's guidance usually starts inside before it shows outside. He adjusts your perspective before he adjusts your situation. This is why restlessness can be a gift. It pushes you to seek truth. It pulls you away from autopilot living. It prepares you to listen more carefully. If you feel drawn toward purpose without fully understanding why, pay attention. That quiet pull matters. God often plants direction before he provides explanation. This is how faith begins to take root, not with answers, but with alignment. God does not reveal the entire journey at once. He works in steps. This is intentional. If everything were clear, faith would not be required. Instead, God invites trust through partial understanding. You see enough to move forward, but not enough to control outcomes. Many people struggle here because they want certainty. They want guarantees. God offers guidance instead. His path teaches dependence, not independence. Each step forward strengthens spiritual maturity and deepens trust in his timing. When God leads, clarity grows gradually. You begin to sense what no longer fits your life. Old goals lose meaning. New priorities rise quietly. This process can feel uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Growth often feels like loss before it feels like gain. If you're learning to move without full answers, you are not behind. You are being trained. God builds faith through obedience in uncertainty. This is not confusion. It is preparation. God's path is rarely crowded. It often feels narrow and lonely. Not because God wants isolation, but because purpose requires focus. Distractions fall away naturally when direction becomes clearer. You begin choosing depth over approval. Few people understand this phase. Others may question your choices. Some may misunderstand your silence. This is normal. God often separates before he elevates. He removes noise so you can hear him clearly. Walking this path requires courage. You must choose obedience even when affirmation is absent. This strengthens spiritual confidence. It teaches you to rely on God's voice rather than public opinion. That reliance becomes spiritual authority. If you feel set apart without asking for it, do not resist. God does meaningful work in quiet seasons. What feels like restriction is often protection. What feels like delay is often divine timing at work. As God's direction becomes clearer, inner tension often increases. This tension is not anxiety, it is awareness. You begin to sense when something is misaligned. Choices that once felt neutral now carry weight. This sensitivity is a sign of spiritual growth. God sharpens discernment by refining your conscience. You become slower to react and quicker to reflect. Impulsive decisions lose their appeal. You feel a quiet urge to pause and pray before moving forward. This shift shows that guidance is taking root. Conviction is not meant to shame you. It is meant to protect you. It alerts you before damage happens. God uses this internal signal to guard your future. What feels uncomfortable now prevents regret later. If your heart resists things you once accepted easily, pay attention. This is not restriction. It is refinement. God is teaching you to recognize what supports your calling and what quietly pulls you away from it. Another sign of walking on God's path is the way time feels different. Waiting becomes more common. Progress appears slower. This can feel frustrating, especially when effort is sincere. But spiritual timing operates differently than human urgency. God uses waiting to develop patience and endurance. In stillness, character forms. Strength grows quietly. You learn to trust without rushing. This builds stability that quick success cannot provide. Delays are often divine filters. They remove shortcuts that weaken foundations. When God withholds speed, He is strengthening structure. What takes longer lasts longer. This principle shapes lasting purpose. If you feel held back despite doing the right things, do not lose hope. God may be protecting you from premature exposure. What He prepares in private, He sustains in public. When you walk in obedience, resistance often increases. Not because you are wrong, but because you are progressing. Challenges rise when direction becomes clear. Opposition tends to surface when purpose sharpens. This resistance can appear as doubt, fatigue, or unexpected obstacles. It tests commitment. It reveals reliance. God allows resistance to stretch faith beyond comfort. Growth requires pressure to expand. Spiritual resistance is not meant to stop you. It is meant to strengthen you. Each challenge develops resilience. Each obstacle builds perseverance. These qualities prepare you for greater responsibility. If your path feels harder than before, remain steady. Difficulty does not cancel direction. Often it confirms it. God builds strength before He reveals results. Faith often manifests in subtle reassurance. You may notice moments of unexpected calm despite uncertainty. Circumstances might remain unclear, yet an internal peace anchors you. This peace is a sign that God is directing your steps, even when you cannot see the path ahead. Peace does not mean the absence of trials. It means strength within the trial. You can remain steady while challenges swirl around you. God equips you to navigate storms with a quiet confidence that cannot be shaken by fear or doubt. This inner tranquility develops over time. Small choices to trust, even in confusion, strengthen it. You begin to recognize that calm is not coincidence, but divine confirmation. Each peaceful moment reinforces alignment with God's will. If you feel calm when others panic, or hope when circumstances seem impossible, take note. These subtle affirmations indicate God's hand is guiding your journey. Trust these signs, for they confirm you are walking the intended path. God often tests priorities to reveal commitment. When your path aligns with His purpose, distractions no longer dominate your attention. You start letting go of activities, relationships, or habits that once seemed essential. This refinement is intentional and protective. The process can feel uncomfortable. Letting go challenges human desire for control. Yet every item or relationship removed makes room for growth that only God can provide. This pruning allows your energy, focus, and faith to strengthen where it matters most. Divine alignment often requires sacrifice. What you release is not a loss, but preparation. By removing clutter, God ensures your path remains clear. Your heart, mind, and spirit gain clarity to pursue the mission He designed. Pay attention to what you no longer desire or need. These shifts in preference are not random. They are signs of divine pruning. Accept them as confirmation that your journey is progressing as intended. Sometimes guidance is revealed through repeated confirmations. You may notice patterns, repeated messages, or recurring feelings drawing you toward specific decisions. These alignments are God's way of signaling direction without forcing it. Repeated nudges often manifest as opportunities, coincidences, or instincts that feel too consistent to ignore. They highlight a pathway that resonates with purpose rather than convenience. Ignoring them can delay growth. Noticing them accelerates clarity. Consistency in these signals cultivates confidence. It teaches you to trust intuition shaped by God's wisdom. The universe may present options, but the peace and alignment you feel reveal the divinely guided choice. If you see patterns repeating or opportunities surfacing with a sense of purpose, consider them indicators. God often confirms the path through subtle, persistent signs that build discernment over time. Spiritual growth often requires periods of solitude. When God guides someone, social noise fades naturally. You may find yourself drawn to quiet moments of reflection, prayer, or study. This separation is not punishment, but preparation, allowing focus on what truly matters. In these moments, clarity deepens. Distractions that once clouded judgment now seem irrelevant. Your thoughts become aligned with purpose rather than preference. This shift strengthens discernment, making it easier to recognize opportunities and challenges on your path. Solitude also strengthens reliance on God. Without constant external input, you learn to trust internal guidance shaped by faith. This builds a spiritual muscle that prepares you for larger responsibilities as dependence moves from self to divine wisdom. If you notice yourself seeking quiet, reflective spaces more than social approval or validation, take this as a sign. God is refining your focus and preparing you for meaningful steps on His path. Challenges appear differently when walking in faith. Situations may seem mundane yet demand obedience. Small decisions become tests of commitment. How you respond to these everyday challenges reveals alignment with God's direction. Obedience is rarely effortless. You may feel tempted to take shortcuts or follow easier alternatives. God uses these moments to shape integrity and character. What seems simple is often a measure of spiritual readiness. Consistency in these small acts establishes a foundation for larger responsibilities. By staying faithful in ordinary tasks, you strengthen trust and endurance. God rewards alignment over convenience, preparing you for more significant opportunities. Notice how routine challenges feel different now. If you respond with patience, discernment, and faith, you are demonstrating readiness for the next stage. These daily confirmations are subtle, yet unmistakable signs of God's guidance. Signs of growth also appear in relationships. People who no longer align with your purpose naturally drift away. This is not rejection. It is divine separation designed to clear space for those who support your journey. Interactions may feel lighter or less frequent. Conversations that once consumed time now seem unnecessary. This natural pruning allows for deeper connections with people who share similar values or encourage your spiritual path. Separation from certain relationships strengthens your focus and resilience. You begin to rely on God's guidance rather than human validation. Trust grows as you see that those meant to accompany you remain while others move aside. If you notice meaningful relationships fading without effort, recognize it as a positive sign. God is protecting your path and ensuring your journey remains unencumbered by distraction or negativity. As you continue on God's path, clarity in decision-making grows. Choices that once seemed confusing now carry a sense of direction. You notice subtle guidance in opportunities, conversations, or even unexpected events. These nudges are God's way of confirming your alignment. Clarity often comes with a sense of peace. Even when circumstances are uncertain, you feel confidence not from certainty, but from discernment. Decisions that honor your calling feel easier to embrace, while choices that conflict with purpose feel heavier. This heightened awareness allows you to avoid pitfalls. You learn to recognize distractions that previously seemed harmless. God uses these subtle signals to guide you toward actions that strengthen faith and character. If you notice that decisions feel more intuitive and less pressured, it is a clear sign. God's guidance is shaping your judgment, helping you move forward on the intended path with assurance and focus. Faith often expresses itself through resilience. On God's path, obstacles increase, but you find strength to overcome them. What once might have discouraged you now builds endurance. Trials become opportunities to exercise faith rather than reasons to quit. Challenges may appear in work, relationships, or personal goals. These are not random hardships. They are deliberate tests designed to cultivate perseverance. Each difficulty strengthens spiritual confidence and reliance on divine guidance. Endurance is not passive. It requires intentional trust and consistent effort. You learn to face setbacks with patience, understanding that God uses resistance to shape character and prepare you for greater responsibilities. If you notice that challenges no longer shake your faith, take this as a sign. God is equipping you with resilience necessary to continue your journey, showing that you are on the right path despite opposition. Spiritual maturity often brings a refined sense of priorities. As God's direction becomes clearer, you naturally focus on what truly matters. You let go of trivial pursuits and invest energy in meaningful growth and service. This shift is noticeable in daily life. Tasks that once consumed time now seem irrelevant. Relationships that no longer align with purpose fade naturally. You develop discernment about where to invest your time and heart. Refined priorities also foster deeper connection with God. By choosing what supports your calling, you create space to hear His voice more clearly. Distractions diminish, allowing spiritual clarity and focused progression. If you notice priorities shifting without conscious effort, it is an unmistakable sign. God is leading you toward alignment with your purpose, guiding your focus toward what truly strengthens your faith and mission. A subtle sign of God's guidance is increased sensitivity to truth. Things that once felt neutral now trigger reflection or hesitation. Words, actions, and situations carry deeper meaning. This heightened awareness is a sign that your spiritual discernment is developing. You may notice that lies or shortcuts feel uncomfortable. Even small compromises no longer sit well with your conscience. This sensitivity is not judgment. It is protection. God is teaching you to recognize what strengthens your path and what derails it. Spiritual sensitivity also allows you to notice opportunities aligned with your purpose. Doors that support growth feel inviting, while distractions feel heavier. You begin to trust intuition shaped by divine guidance rather than human expectation. If you find yourself instinctively avoiding choices that once seemed acceptable, pay attention. This inner sensitivity is one of the unmistakable signs that God is leading you and shaping your discernment for future challenges. Faith often strengthens through patience. Progress on God's path is rarely instantaneous. You may wait longer than expected for answers, results, or confirmation. This waiting is not delay. It is preparation for the next stage of spiritual growth. During periods of waiting, resilience builds quietly. You learn to rely on prayer and trust instead of rushing decisions. The longer the wait, the deeper the lessons about timing, obedience, and faith. Each pause strengthens character and perseverance. Patience allows you to see the bigger picture. Immediate results may be tempting, but God teaches that enduring preparation produces lasting impact. You learn that divine timing is far more precise than human urgency. If waiting feels uncomfortable, but also enlightening, recognize it as a sign God is shaping your understanding of timing, teaching you that faithfulness in waiting is evidence of alignment with His path. God often confirms direction through subtle alignment with circumstances. Events, conversations, and opportunities begin to converge in ways that support growth and purpose. These alignments feel natural rather than forced. You may notice that certain challenges or openings keep appearing, pointing toward the same goal. This repetition is intentional. God uses alignment to strengthen confidence and reduce uncertainty, guiding you toward choices that matter. Alignment reinforces trust. When external circumstances correspond with internal conviction, you gain assurance that the path is correct. It becomes easier to discern what to pursue and what to release. If you recognize recurring patterns that clarify decisions or opportunities, take this as confirmation. God's orchestration of circumstances is a subtle but powerful sign that you are walking on the intended path. A key sign of walking on God's path is clarity in purpose. You begin to sense why certain events happen and how they shape your journey. Situations that once seemed random now carry meaning, pointing toward growth and preparation. This clarity often comes as subtle realizations rather than dramatic epiphanies. You notice connections between past experiences and current decisions. God uses these moments to strengthen understanding and reveal lessons that build spiritual maturity. Purpose also provides motivation during challenges. When you understand the why behind struggles, perseverance becomes easier. Trials are no longer meaningless obstacles. They are stepping stones that prepare you for higher responsibilities. If you sense deeper meaning in your experiences and feel guided toward actions with lasting impact, recognize this as a sign. God is aligning your journey with divine purpose, ensuring that each step contributes to growth and fulfillment. Inner peace becomes more prominent as another sign of divine guidance. Even when uncertainty or difficulties arise, a calm assurance remains within. This peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of faith that God is in control. Challenges may still appear, but they no longer shape your confidence. You trust that outcomes are guided by a higher purpose. This inner stability allows you to move forward without fear, relying on discernment and divine timing. Peace manifests in decision-making as well. You may feel confidence in choices even without external validation. This alignment between intuition and faith demonstrates that God's guidance is active and reliable. If you notice this calm in the midst of uncertainty, take it as an unmistakable sign. God's presence is evident, providing assurance and strengthening trust in the path you are walking. Another sign is growing reliance on faith over external guidance. Situations may arise where advice, opinion, or human reasoning seems insufficient. You find yourself turning to prayer, scripture, or spiritual insight for direction. This reliance strengthens spiritual maturity. Decisions are less about convenience or popularity and more about alignment with purpose. You begin to trust God's guidance even when it contradicts logic or societal expectations. The more you rely on faith, the clearer your path becomes. Choices feel guided rather than forced. Opportunities align and distractions fade. This reliance also protects you from pitfalls, as guidance comes from divine insight rather than human error. If you notice that instinctively seeking spiritual direction becomes natural, recognize it as a sign. God is nurturing dependence on Him, ensuring that each step you take is aligned with His intended plan. A subtle sign of God's guidance is discernment in conversations. You may notice that discussions that once felt routine now carry significance. Some words feel weighty, while others feel hollow. This awareness is a reflection of spiritual sensitivity developing within you. You begin to recognize which interactions nurture growth and which drain energy. God uses this discernment to align you with people and ideas that support your purpose. Choices about who to listen to become clearer, and your heart naturally gravitates toward guidance that reinforces faith. This awareness also protects your journey. By noticing subtle cues in dialogue, you avoid decisions that could misalign with God's plan. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to test alignment and refine understanding. If you find that conversations now carry more meaning and influence your decisions more than before, consider it a sign. God is cultivating discernment, helping you navigate relationships and dialogue in alignment with His path. Faith often manifests through small victories that feel disproportionate to effort. Tasks or challenges that once seemed overwhelming now become manageable. Success may appear subtle, but it reflects God's unseen guidance shaping your steps. These victories build confidence without ego. They serve as reminders that alignment with God's path brings progress, even when external validation is absent. Small wins confirm obedience and perseverance, reinforcing trust in divine timing. God orchestrates circumstances to cultivate awareness. Opportunities arise, timing aligns, and resources appear at just the right moment. Recognizing these subtle blessings strengthens faith and confirms that your path is intentional. If you notice progress occurring quietly but consistently, take it as a sign. God is moving behind the scenes, confirming steps taken in faith and encouraging continued alignment with your purpose. Another unmistakable sign is the growing ability to forgive and release. People or situations that once caused bitterness or resentment no longer hold the same power. This shift demonstrates a heart increasingly aligned with divine purpose. Forgiveness does not always come quickly, but as spiritual maturity grows, resentment fades. God teaches that releasing control over others' actions creates space for clarity and peace. This liberation allows focus on the mission rather than distractions. Releasing past grievances also strengthens spiritual vision. You begin to see opportunities more clearly, make better decisions, and cultivate relationships that truly matter. Holding on to negativity only obstructs progress along God's path. If you notice a newfound capacity to forgive and release without struggle, recognize it as a sign God is preparing your heart for growth, ensuring that your journey continues with clarity, focus, and peace. A sign of being on God's path is a heightened awareness of timing. You may notice that certain opportunities or answers arrive exactly when needed, not earlier or later. This precision is divine orchestration, confirming that your steps are aligned with purpose. Timing often challenges patience. You may feel eager for results, yet circumstances remain paused. This waiting is intentional. God uses delays to prepare character, build faith, and ensure that when doors open, you are ready to walk through them with wisdom and strength. Divine timing also teaches trust. You learn to move forward based on guidance rather than impulse, trusting that each step unfolds in perfect sequence. This awareness strengthens discernment and prevents missteps caused by impatience or desire for control. If you notice that things seem to happen at the right moment, despite uncertainty, take it as a sign God is managing timing, confirming that your path is intentional, guided, and protected. Another unmistakable sign is growing gratitude for small blessings. You begin to notice gifts that previously went unnoticed. Moments of peace, support from others, or subtle answers to prayer. This awareness shows that your heart is aligned with God's purpose. Gratitude transforms perception. Challenges become lessons. And ordinary experiences reveal hidden value. This shift in focus indicates that spiritual growth is occurring as your perspective moves from scarcity to abundance, recognizing divine presence in every circumstance. By cultivating gratitude, you strengthen faith. The ability to see God's hand in daily life reinforces trust and deepens alignment with His path. It also enhances resilience, making challenges feel less burdensome and victories more meaningful. If you feel increasingly thankful for small, seemingly ordinary blessings, consider it a sign God is nurturing your awareness and preparing you for greater spiritual and personal growth. Spiritual intuition often sharpens as another sign. Decisions feel guided by a quiet inner knowing. You may sense which paths to pursue and which to avoid, even without external confirmation. This intuitive clarity is a divine signal of alignment with God's direction. This intuition develops over time through prayer, reflection, and consistent obedience. The more you respond to subtle guidance, the stronger this inner compass becomes. You begin to trust it over external pressures or conventional advice. Intuition also helps protect your journey. You can sense potential pitfalls, identify meaningful opportunities, and navigate challenges more effectively. God uses this inner guidance as a safeguard, keeping you aligned with purpose. If you notice that choices feel instinctively right or wrong without external validation, take it as a sign God is sharpening your spiritual intuition, ensuring that your path continues in harmony with His plan. God often provides reassurance through unexpected encouragement. You may notice words, signs, or even quiet thoughts that confirm you are on the right path. These subtle affirmations build confidence and strengthen faith without needing external validation. Encouragement can appear in various forms: a timely conversation, a scripture that resonates deeply, or an insight during prayer. Each instance serves as a gentle reminder that God is actively guiding your steps, ensuring alignment with purpose. Such reassurance also nurtures resilience. When challenges arise, these small confirmations remind you of divine support. They reinforce trust in the journey, showing that progress is occurring even when circumstances seem stagnant or confusing. If you notice consistent moments of encouragement that feel divinely timed, take it as a sign. God is affirming your path, preparing you to move forward with clarity, confidence, and faith. Another sign of walking God's path is growing contentment in simplicity. Material desires, status, or approval begin to feel less significant. You find joy in fulfilling your purpose, serving others, and embracing moments of quiet reflection. This shift in focus indicates spiritual maturity. You no longer measure life by comparison or external success. Instead, your priorities reflect deeper alignment with God's plan, emphasizing obedience, faith, and meaningful contribution. Contentment also strengthens decision-making. With fewer distractions, choices become more intentional and guided by purpose rather than desire. You move with clarity, focusing on what sustains growth and supports God's mission. If you notice a natural satisfaction with simpler things and a focus on meaningful pursuits, recognize it as a sign. God is redirecting your attention from superficial desires to actions that cultivate spiritual progress and fulfillment. Spiritual growth often brings discernment in speech and thought. You begin to think before speaking and weigh the impact of your words more carefully. This refinement reflects a growing alignment with God's guidance and purpose. Thought patterns also change. Negative or reactive thinking loses power, replaced by reflection and insight. You notice how your mindset influences choices, interactions, and reactions, creating a stronger connection between belief and behavior. This discernment helps maintain integrity and strengthens relationships. By aligning speech and thought with divine principles, you avoid unnecessary conflict, clarify intentions, and model faith-driven conduct. If you find yourself naturally more reflective in speech and thought, consider it a sign God is cultivating wisdom, enabling you to navigate life with insight, patience, and alignment with His path. A sign of being on God's path is renewed focus on meaningful action. You begin to prioritize tasks that impact your spiritual growth and align with purpose. The trivial or distracting tasks no longer dominate your attention. This focus allows energy to flow where it matters most. You accomplish more with less effort because your actions are guided by discernment. God uses this clarity to teach efficiency in purpose and alignment in daily life. Over time, this prioritization strengthens confidence. Decisions become easier because your inner compass is clearer. You instinctively know which steps move you forward and which waste time or energy. If you notice that your attention naturally gravitates toward productive, purposeful action, take it as a sign. God is directing your focus, ensuring that your path is intentional and aligned with His will. Another unmistakable sign is the deepening of spiritual patience. Circumstances may not unfold as quickly as you hope, yet you feel peace in waiting. This patience is a reflection of growing trust in God's timing and purpose. Patience nurtures endurance. You are able to continue forward even when immediate results are absent. Each delay becomes a lesson in faith, showing that God's plan unfolds at the perfect moment. Spiritual patience also strengthens relationships and interactions. You are less reactive, more understanding, and better able to respond with wisdom rather than emotion. This refinement demonstrates alignment with God's guidance. If you feel increasingly calm during delays or setbacks, recognize it as a sign. God is shaping your character through patience, preparing you to handle opportunities and responsibilities with clarity and faith. Growth on God's path often brings increased sensitivity to opportunities. You notice options that others overlook, moments that feel divinely timed, or insights that guide decisions. These cues are not coincidences, but signs of alignment. Opportunities may seem subtle or quiet, yet they carry profound significance. God orchestrates events to test discernment, cultivate faith, and strengthen readiness for the next stage of your journey. Recognizing these opportunities enhances confidence in decision-making. You begin to trust intuition, guided by faith, rather than external influence. This skill ensures you remain on the intended path and make choices consistent with purpose. If you find yourself noticing meaningful opportunities more frequently, take it as a sign. God is revealing alignment, confirming that your steps are guided and intentional, even when the path is not fully visible. A clear sign of walking God's path is increased awareness of subtle guidance. You may notice quiet nudges during reflection, prayer, or even daily routines that point you toward the right decision. These small prompts are often the beginning of greater spiritual clarity. Subtle guidance allows you to navigate situations with wisdom. Choices that once seemed confusing now carry a sense of direction. God uses these cues to strengthen your discernment and encourage consistent alignment with His will. This heightened awareness also protects you from unnecessary detours. By noticing and acting on subtle signals, you avoid pitfalls that could delay progress. Each decision taken with divine insight builds confidence and reinforces faith. If you recognize these gentle nudges consistently guiding choices, take it as a sign. God is actively directing your path, ensuring that each step contributes to purpose and spiritual growth. Another unmistakable sign is a natural inclination toward service. You may find yourself drawn to helping others, encouraging those around you, or contributing in ways that feel meaningful and purposeful. This drive is a reflection of God's work within your heart. Service strengthens character and reinforces purpose. By putting others first, you align more deeply with divine principles. Acts of kindness, generosity, and support are not just moral decisions. They are markers of spiritual alignment and evidence of God's guidance. This focus on serving others also provides clarity in decision-making. As you prioritize contribution over self-interest, opportunities align with growth and purpose. You begin to recognize situations that amplify your calling rather than distract from it. If you notice a consistent desire to help, guide, or serve, consider it a sign. God is shaping your heart, preparing you for meaningful work, and confirming your alignment with His path. Faith often manifests through increasing resilience to discouragement. Challenges, criticism, or setbacks no longer shake your resolve as they once did. Instead, these moments become opportunities to demonstrate trust, obedience, and patience. Resilience develops through repeated testing. Each obstacle strengthens endurance and teaches lessons in perseverance. God allows these challenges not to punish, but to build the spiritual fortitude necessary for greater responsibilities ahead. This resilience also influences perspective. You begin to interpret difficulties as temporary and purposeful rather than overwhelming. Faith provides clarity, showing that each test has a role in shaping character and refining direction. If you notice the ability to face setbacks with calm, confidence, and trust, recognize it as a sign. God is confirming your path and equipping you with the strength required to walk it faithfully. A sign that you are walking on God's path is a deepening sense of contentment in uncertainty. You may face unknown circumstances, yet a calm assurance remains within you. This inner peace reflects trust in God's guidance and timing. Contentment in uncertainty allows you to act with confidence even when outcomes are unclear. Decisions no longer depend on guarantees, but on faith that your steps are aligned with purpose. This shift strengthens spiritual resilience and builds trust in divine orchestration. The ability to remain centered amidst unpredictability also enhances discernment. You start recognizing opportunities and challenges without fear or distraction, guided by intuition shaped by God's wisdom. Each step is purposeful rather than reactive. If you notice that you feel peace, even when life seems unpredictable, take it as a sign. God is reinforcing alignment, preparing you to navigate the path with faith, focus, and clarity. Another unmistakable sign is the deepening of spiritual gratitude. You begin noticing blessings in unexpected places, small moments, supportive people, or solutions that appear just in time. Gratitude becomes a natural response rather than a conscious effort. This gratitude transforms perspective. Challenges no longer feel purely burdensome. They reveal lessons, growth opportunities, and preparation for the next stage of purpose. Recognizing God's presence in ordinary life enhances spiritual awareness and trust. Gratitude also cultivates resilience. By acknowledging God's provision and guidance in daily life, you remain hopeful and steadfast, even when outcomes are delayed or unclear. This strengthens alignment with divine timing and purpose. If you feel consistently thankful for small blessings or unseen provisions, recognize it as a sign. God is confirming your journey and nurturing awareness of His presence in every aspect of life. Faith manifests in discernment over relationships. You notice that certain connections naturally strengthen your purpose while others fade. Relationships that once consumed energy now seem less significant, and new bonds emerge that encourage growth and alignment. This discernment helps preserve focus. You no longer invest in connections that drain energy or lead away from purpose. God uses this process to protect your path, ensuring that relationships support rather than hinder spiritual development. Spiritual discernment also enhances decision-making. You begin to see clearly who to trust and which influences align with divine guidance. This creates space for meaningful, purposeful connections that reinforce faith and strengthen character. If you notice natural shifts in relationships or the ability to discern supportive versus distracting influences, take it as a sign. God is orchestrating interactions to guide, protect, and confirm your path. A sign of walking on God's path is the increasing clarity in decision-making. Choices that once seemed confusing now carry a sense of direction, and indecision slowly fades. God is guiding your mind and heart toward alignment with purpose. Clarity develops through reflection and obedience. As you take steps in faith, understanding grows, and the next right action becomes more apparent. God uses this process to strengthen discernment, ensuring decisions are intentional rather than impulsive. This clarity also enhances confidence. You begin to trust inner convictions even without external validation, relying on God's guidance rather than others' opinions. Each right choice reinforces spiritual assurance and alignment. If you notice decisions feel naturally guided and easier to make, take it as a sign. God is actively directing your path and confirming that each step is intentional and purposeful. Another unmistakable sign is a growing sense of joy in serving others. Acts of kindness, encouragement, or support bring fulfillment and align with a deeper calling. Service becomes a natural expression of faith rather than an obligation. Service strengthens both character and purpose. By contributing to others' growth or well-being, you align with God's mission, demonstrating obedience, compassion, and faith-driven action. This also amplifies spiritual awareness. The impact of service extends beyond immediate results. Through consistent acts of faith-inspired contribution, opportunities and relationships emerge that support growth and direction. God confirms alignment through these meaningful interactions. If you notice a natural desire to help, encourage, or uplift others, recognize it as a sign. God is shaping your heart for purpose, reinforcing the alignment of your steps with His guidance. Spiritual guidance often manifests through increased intuition. You sense the right path or recognize obstacles without needing explicit instruction. This inner knowing grows stronger as faith deepens and alignment with purpose strengthens. Intuition is honed through reflection, prayer, and responsiveness to God's subtle nudges. As you act in alignment, these instincts become more reliable, guiding decisions and protecting from pitfalls. This heightened intuition also fosters confidence. You trust your inner compass even in uncertain circumstances, recognizing that it is shaped by divine insight rather than human reasoning. Each decision taken in alignment strengthens spiritual awareness. If you notice instinctive clarity, guiding choices, or avoiding pitfalls, take it as a sign. God is cultivating discernment, ensuring that your path remains purposeful and aligned with His will. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing peace in decision-making. Choices no longer feel pressured by fear or urgency. Instead, they are guided by faith and alignment with purpose. This peace signals that your steps are under divine direction. This calm assurance allows you to act confidently even when outcomes are uncertain. You trust that God's timing and wisdom will guide results, reducing anxiety and fostering clarity. Each decision taken with this inner peace reinforces spiritual growth. Peace in decision-making also strengthens discernment. You begin to recognize which opportunities are aligned with purpose and which are distractions. This alignment enhances focus, allowing energy to be invested in actions that truly matter. If you notice a consistent sense of calm while making important choices, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and preparing your steps to be purposeful and effective. Another unmistakable sign is an increased awareness of subtle guidance in daily life. You notice patterns, repeated messages, or recurring thoughts that feel meaningful and point toward the next step. These cues are intentional markers of divine direction. Subtle guidance often comes quietly through moments of reflection, prayer, or even ordinary circumstances. God uses these gentle nudges to align your choices with purpose and ensure that your actions contribute to growth and spiritual fulfillment. This awareness develops discernment. You begin to notice opportunities and warnings before they become obvious, allowing proactive steps rather than reactive responses. The guidance reinforces faith and confidence in the path. If you frequently notice recurring patterns or gentle nudges influencing choices, recognize it as a sign. God is orchestrating your journey and confirming that your steps are aligned with His plan. Faith also manifests through a growing reliance on prayer and reflection. Decisions, opportunities, and challenges are approached first with spiritual insight rather than external advice. This reliance is a clear indicator of alignment with God's path. Turning to prayer before action strengthens spiritual discernment and reinforces trust. You learn to pause, seek guidance, and act with intention, ensuring that each step supports purpose rather than impulse or pressure. Reliance on reflection and prayer also cultivates patience and humility. You recognize that outcomes are guided, not dictated, by your effort alone. Each decision taken through spiritual alignment builds confidence and strengthens the journey. If you notice that turning to prayer and reflection has become a natural habit before making decisions, take it as a sign. God is reinforcing dependence on His guidance and shaping your path with intentional clarity. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing sensitivity to inspiration. You may feel ideas or directions arise that resonate deeply, even without external validation. This subtle inspiration often guides important steps forward. Inspiration helps align daily actions with purpose. You notice which efforts lead to meaningful outcomes and which feel unproductive. God uses this awareness to refine focus and guide energy toward growth that matters. This sensitivity also strengthens decision-making. Opportunities that align with purpose feel natural, while distractions or unnecessary detours feel heavy or uncomfortable. Each inspired choice reinforces spiritual clarity. If you notice recurring ideas or insights that influence your steps and feel divinely timed, take it as a sign. God is guiding your journey, ensuring alignment with His intended purpose. Another unmistakable sign is the ability to persevere through uncertainty. Situations may remain unclear, yet you continue forward with confidence, trusting that each step is meaningful. This perseverance reflects growing faith and alignment. Faith-driven perseverance strengthens resilience. Challenges become opportunities to demonstrate trust, and obstacles are viewed as lessons rather than setbacks. Each forward step, taken despite uncertainty, builds spiritual strength. Perseverance also deepens patience. You learn to wait without anxiety, understanding that God's timing ensures that each opportunity and outcome unfolds at the right moment. This patience enhances discernment and spiritual maturity. If you notice that you continue moving forward confidently, even when outcomes are uncertain, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and cultivating endurance to sustain future growth. Spiritual growth often manifests in renewed clarity about priorities. You naturally focus on what matters most, letting go of tasks, relationships, or habits that distract from purpose. This refinement is a clear indication of alignment with God's plan. Refined priorities enhance focus and effectiveness. By dedicating energy to meaningful pursuits, you make progress efficiently and with intention. God uses this clarity to guide decisions and ensure purposeful steps. This prioritization also strengthens discernment in other areas of life. Choices about relationships, work, or personal growth become guided by purpose rather than habit, desire, or convenience. Each decision reinforces alignment. He noticed that you naturally prioritize meaningful tasks over distractions. Take it as a sign. God is orchestrating your journey, ensuring that your focus supports spiritual growth and purposeful progress. A sign that you are walking on God's path is the emergence of spiritual resilience. Challenges no longer overwhelm you as they once did. Instead, they become opportunities to trust, grow, and demonstrate obedience to divine guidance. Resilience develops through experience. Each obstacle you face becomes a lesson in perseverance and faith. God allows these challenges not to discourage, but to strengthen your spiritual character and prepare you for greater responsibilities. This resilience also brings perspective. Difficulties are no longer seen as setbacks, but as essential steps in the journey. You recognize that growth often requires pressure and discomfort, shaping endurance and faith simultaneously. If you notice that obstacles no longer shake your confidence or peace, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and equipping you to move forward with strength and clarity. Another unmistakable sign is a heightened awareness of divine timing. You may notice that opportunities, solutions, or answers arrive precisely when needed, even if delayed. This timing demonstrates that God is orchestrating events for your benefit. Awareness of divine timing fosters patience and trust. You learn to wait without anxiety, understanding that premature actions can lead to misalignment or missed blessings. God's timing ensures that each step is purposeful. This timing also reinforces discernment. You begin to distinguish between genuine opportunities and distractions, acting only when conditions align with God's guidance. Each carefully timed step strengthens faith and spiritual clarity. If you notice that events and solutions unfold with remarkable precision, take it as a sign. God is guiding your journey, confirming that your path is aligned with His plan and timing. Faith often manifests through consistent inner peace. Even when circumstances are uncertain, you feel calm, centered, and confident in your decisions. This peace reflects alignment with God's guidance and the assurance that your steps are purposeful. Inner peace allows better judgment and clarity. Decisions are no longer reactive but thoughtful, guided by divine insight. This calm strengthens spiritual resilience and promotes intentional action aligned with purpose. Peace also deepens trust in God's plan. You learn to rely on divine timing and wisdom, understanding that not every outcome needs immediate resolution. This faith provides confidence and stability in every step. If you notice that peace remains present despite uncertainty or external chaos, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and preparing your journey to unfold with faith and clarity. A sign of walking on God's path is an increasing ability to recognize divine guidance in everyday decisions. You notice subtle signs, intuitive thoughts, or recurring patterns that indicate the right choice, even in ordinary matters. This recognition strengthens trust in spiritual insight. Decisions that once felt uncertain now carry confidence and clarity. God uses these moments to cultivate discernment and ensure that your steps align with purpose. Being attuned to guidance also protects your journey. You begin to notice opportunities that advance your growth and challenges that teach vital lessons. This awareness allows proactive choices rather than reactive responses. If you find yourself consistently noticing meaningful signs in daily life that guide your actions, take it as a sign. God is orchestrating your steps, confirming alignment with His plan and purpose. Another unmistakable sign is the growing desire for meaningful reflection. You may naturally seek quiet moments to pray, meditate, or evaluate your path. This inclination reflects a deepening connection with God and awareness of His guidance. Reflection enhances clarity and insight. You begin to see patterns in your experiences and understand how past lessons shape current opportunities. God uses reflection to strengthen judgment and prepare you for purposeful action. This habit also nurtures spiritual growth. By taking time to reflect, you are better able to align daily actions with purpose, avoid distractions, and embrace opportunities that strengthen faith. If you notice an increasing need for quiet reflection and evaluation, recognize it as a sign. God is refining your awareness, helping you move forward with insight, focus, and alignment. Faith often reveals itself through increased discernment in relationships. People who uplift, guide, and support your purpose naturally remain close, while those who drain energy or misalign with your path fade away. This discernment protects your journey. You invest time and energy in connections that nurture spiritual growth and avoid influences that hinder progress. God orchestrates relationships to reinforce alignment and purpose. Discernment also deepens trust. You begin to rely on inner conviction rather than external approval to guide interactions. Each relationship becomes an opportunity to strengthen faith and maintain alignment with divine direction. If you notice natural shifts in relationships or the ability to sense supportive versus distracting influences, take it as a sign. God is guiding your path, protecting your focus, and confirming alignment with purpose. A sign of walking on God's path is a heightened sense of spiritual patience. You no longer rush outcomes or force situations, but instead trust that everything unfolds according to divine timing. This patience reflects growing faith and alignment. Patience allows you to act with wisdom. Decisions are no longer impulsive. Instead, they are thoughtful and guided by spiritual insight. God uses this calm endurance to ensure that your steps support purpose rather than distraction. This patience also strengthens resilience. Waiting becomes an opportunity to grow, reflect, and prepare for the next stage of your journey. Challenges that once caused frustration now become lessons in trust and perseverance. If you notice that waiting feels purposeful rather than frustrating, take it as a sign. God is shaping your character, preparing you for opportunities that align with His timing and plan. Another unmistakable sign is clarity in spiritual priorities. You begin to naturally focus on what truly matters, faith, purpose, and meaningful action, while distractions fade. This refinement is a clear signal of divine alignment. Prioritizing purpose strengthens productivity and discernment. Tasks and choices that advance your spiritual journey feel natural, while efforts that drain energy or misalign with purpose seem heavier or irrelevant. God is guiding your focus. This clarity also supports long-term growth. By investing energy in meaningful priorities, you cultivate habits, relationships, and actions that reinforce faith and purpose. Each deliberate choice strengthens alignment with divine guidance. If you notice that your focus naturally prioritizes meaningful pursuits over distractions, recognize it as a sign. God is orchestrating your steps, ensuring that your path is purposeful and productive. Faith often expresses itself through increased trust in divine protection. You may notice that challenges, setbacks, or obstacles no longer induce fear or panic, but rather invite reliance on God's guidance and provision. Trust in protection strengthens courage. You act boldly and intentionally, knowing that God safeguards your path. Even when circumstances seem uncertain, faith reassures that guidance and provision are present. This trust also shapes perspective. Difficult situations are interpreted as temporary tests rather than permanent barriers. You see opportunities for growth and discernment, learning that divine protection ensures purposeful progression. If you notice calm confidence even in challenging situations, take it as a sign. God is actively protecting your journey and reinforcing trust in His guidance and timing. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing recognition of divine alignment in circumstances. Events, opportunities, and interactions seem to converge naturally, as if orchestrated to guide you forward. This alignment strengthens faith and confidence. Alignment allows you to move with clarity. Situations that once felt random now reveal patterns and purpose. God uses this orchestration to confirm that your steps are in sync with His plan. This awareness also enhances decision-making. You instinctively recognize choices that further growth and avoid distractions or setbacks. Each aligned opportunity reinforces trust and spiritual discernment. If you notice recurring patterns or events that consistently guide your decisions, take it as a sign. God is aligning circumstances to confirm your path and ensure purposeful progression. Another unmistakable sign is an increased sense of joy in fulfilling purpose. You feel fulfillment and satisfaction when acting in alignment with your calling, even if external recognition is absent. This joy is evidence of spiritual connection and guidance. Joy reinforces commitment to the path. When tasks or actions resonate with purpose, motivation flows naturally and persistence becomes easier. God uses this satisfaction to nurture continued obedience and alignment. This fulfillment also strengthens resilience. Even during challenges, the underlying joy of serving or following God's guidance sustains hope, patience, and determination, helping you navigate obstacles with faith. If you notice a growing sense of joy and fulfillment in purposeful actions, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and encouraging consistent pursuit of your calling. Faith often manifests through increased clarity in recognizing distractions. You notice which habits, influences, or thought patterns pull you away from purpose. This awareness helps maintain focus on the path God intends for you. Recognizing distractions strengthens discernment. You learn to identify what aligns with growth and what hinders progress, enabling intentional action that supports spiritual development. God uses this awareness to refine judgment and guide steps. This clarity fosters discipline. With fewer distractions, your energy is concentrated on meaningful pursuits, deepening alignment with purpose and enhancing spiritual progress. Each conscious choice strengthens your journey. If you notice a natural ability to identify and avoid distractions, take it as a sign. God is guiding your focus, ensuring that your steps remain intentional, purposeful, and aligned with His plan. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing sense of inner guidance. You begin to instinctively know which choices will lead to growth and which may create setbacks. This inner compass reflects divine influence in decision-making. Inner guidance strengthens confidence. You trust that even without external validation, your steps are aligned with purpose. God uses this sense of direction to encourage consistent obedience and clarity in your journey. This guidance also protects your path. By tuning into inner signals, you avoid distractions and detours, ensuring energy is invested in actions that matter. Each choice guided by intuition reinforces spiritual awareness. If you notice that decisions increasingly feel naturally right without external input, take it as a sign God is cultivating discernment, ensuring your journey unfolds with purpose and divine alignment. Another unmistakable sign is a heightened awareness of subtle blessings. You may notice moments of encouragement, timely help, or unexpected solutions that seem perfectly placed. These blessings confirm that God is actively guiding your steps. Recognizing these blessings strengthens faith. You begin to see that even small occurrences carry significance and contribute to your spiritual journey. God uses these signs to remind you that your path is intentional and supported. Awareness of blessings also cultivates gratitude. By acknowledging divine provision in everyday life, you develop resilience, joy, and focus, reinforcing alignment with purpose. Each recognition deepens trust in God's guidance. If you notice frequent, meaningful blessings that feel divinely orchestrated, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and ensuring your steps are guided with care and intention. Faith often manifests through clarity in handling challenges. Situations that previously caused confusion or fear now feel manageable, and solutions seem more apparent. This clarity reflects alignment with God's guidance and preparation. Clarity in challenges strengthens confidence. You approach difficulties with a sense of purpose, trusting that God has equipped you to navigate obstacles successfully. This understanding transforms challenges into lessons rather than setbacks. This insight also improves discernment. You begin to recognize which actions advance your journey and which may hinder progress, ensuring that choices align with purpose. Each decision guided by clarity reinforces spiritual maturity. If you notice that obstacles feel easier to understand and manage, take it as a sign God is confirming your path and equipping you with the insight to move forward with faith and wisdom. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing ability to trust the process. Even when outcomes are unclear, you move forward with confidence, knowing that each step has meaning and contributes to growth. Trust in the process strengthens resilience. Challenges that once caused worry now become opportunities to rely on faith and obedience. God uses this trust to build patience, wisdom, and spiritual endurance. This trust also nurtures clarity. By accepting that not every step is immediately understandable, you focus on purposeful action rather than results, allowing divine guidance to unfold naturally. If you notice that you are more comfortable moving forward without knowing every outcome, take it as a sign God is cultivating trust, ensuring that your journey aligns with His plan and timing. Another unmistakable sign is the deepening of spiritual awareness in daily life. You begin to notice patterns, opportunities, and lessons that others might overlook, revealing the subtle ways God is guiding you. Spiritual awareness strengthens discernment. You recognize which actions, relationships, and decisions align with purpose, while distractions and misalignments become clearer. This clarity supports intentional and faith-driven steps. Awareness also fosters gratitude. Recognizing God's presence in ordinary moments reinforces trust, joy, and resilience, ensuring that your journey remains focused and spiritually aligned. If you notice heightened perception of divine guidance in everyday life, take it as a sign God is actively orchestrating your path, helping you walk with clarity, faith, and purpose. Faith often reveals itself through natural alignment with meaningful actions. You instinctively prioritize tasks, decisions, and relationships that support growth and purpose, while letting go of what hinders progress. Alignment strengthens confidence and focus. By acting in ways that resonate with purpose, you conserve energy and make progress efficiently, allowing God's guidance to shape outcomes. This alignment also protects your journey. Intentional actions reduce the likelihood of distractions, mistakes, or unnecessary detours, ensuring that your steps continue on the intended path. If you notice that your actions naturally align with meaningful purpose, take it as a sign God is confirming your path and guiding your steps to ensure consistent spiritual growth. A sign of walking on God's path is an increasing awareness of divine protection in unexpected ways. You may find situations that once felt risky or uncertain now seem to resolve themselves, almost as if guided by unseen hands. This protection allows you to act boldly. Where hesitation once dominated, confidence now grows because you sense God's oversight, in your choices. Small coincidences or timely interventions serve as reminders that your path is being safeguarded. Recognizing this protection also fosters gratitude. You begin to see that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities for God's guidance to reveal itself. Each resolved situation builds faith and strengthens trust in His plan. If you notice consistent experiences where outcomes are favorable despite uncertainty, take it as a sign God is actively protecting your journey and confirming your alignment with His purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a growing sense of peace during life transitions. Change, which once brought anxiety or doubt, now carries a calm assurance that everything is unfolding as it should. This peace indicates spiritual alignment. Peace during transition strengthens faith. You no longer feel the need to control every aspect. Instead, you trust that God is orchestrating events for growth and purpose. This trust allows smoother adaptation and more intentional decision-making. Transitions also reveal priorities. As you embrace change without fear, it becomes clear which relationships, habits, and pursuits truly matter. God uses these moments to clarify, focus, and deepen purpose. If you notice that change now feels manageable and even positive, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path, ensuring that transitions guide you toward meaningful growth and alignment. Faith often manifests through unexpected provision. Resources, support, or opportunities appear when most needed, often in ways that seem unlikely or surprising. This provision reflects God's active role in guiding your steps. Recognizing provision strengthens trust in divine timing. You realize that preparation and effort align with God's plan, even when results appear delayed. Unexpected blessings confirm that your actions are purposeful and guided. Provision also teaches humility and reliance. You understand that success is not solely earned through effort, but is intertwined with obedience, patience, and faith. Each moment of provision reinforces alignment and spiritual awareness. If you notice help, solutions, or opportunities appearing just when needed, take it as a sign. God is actively providing and guiding your path, confirming that your journey is aligned with His plan. A sign of walking on God's path is noticing a growing sense of clarity in spiritual lessons. Situations that once felt confusing now reveal meaning, and you begin to see patterns in challenges, opportunities, and everyday encounters. This clarity strengthens decision-making. You can act with confidence because experiences provide guidance rather than confusion. God uses these lessons to illuminate the next step, helping you move with intentionality and purpose. Recognizing lessons also builds resilience. Even setbacks become meaningful, as each one highlights wisdom, strength, or preparation for future opportunities. Challenges no longer discourage but instruct, shaping faith and character. If you notice that life's experiences seem to carry clear, meaningful lessons, take it as a sign. God is teaching, guiding, and confirming that your steps are aligned with His purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a natural attraction toward positive influence. You find yourself drawn to people, teachings, and environments that uplift, inspire, and encourage growth. At the same time, negativity or distractions naturally feel less appealing. This attraction refines priorities. You instinctively invest time and energy where growth, purpose, and spiritual alignment are fostered. God uses this preference to cultivate discernment and protect your focus from misalignment. The shift also enhances relationships. Connections now feel purposeful rather than coincidental, and interactions reinforce growth, faith, and spiritual awareness. You begin to recognize allies who support your journey and guidance. If you notice that you are naturally gravitating toward uplifting influences while avoiding harmful ones, consider it a sign. God is orchestrating your environment to ensure that your path remains aligned with His plan. Faith often manifests through a deepened sense of patience in timing. You no longer force outcomes, but trust that God's plan unfolds at the right moment. Delays feel intentional rather than frustrating, and waiting becomes a period of growth. Patience strengthens trust and wisdom. You begin to understand that readiness is required before blessings or opportunities arrive. God uses waiting periods to prepare you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally for what lies ahead. This patience also enhances perspective. Challenges, setbacks, and waiting periods are no longer seen as obstacles, but as essential steps in the journey. Each moment of waiting reinforces trust and alignment with purpose. If you notice that waiting no longer causes anxiety and instead brings peace, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and preparing you for opportunities aligned with His timing and plan. A sign of walking on God's path is an increasing sense of discernment in opportunities. You begin to notice which doors lead to growth and which could distract or misalign you from purpose. This discernment develops naturally as faith deepens. Discernment strengthens decision-making. Instead of acting impulsively, you carefully evaluate each choice, guided by intuition and spiritual insight. God uses this clarity to ensure that your steps align with His plan and timing. This awareness also fosters confidence. You no longer feel pressured by external opinions or temporary trends. Each choice made with discernment reinforces trust in God's guidance and confirms that your journey is intentional. If you notice that opportunities now feel clearer in terms of alignment and purpose, take it as a sign God is guiding your steps and confirming that your path is divinely orchestrated. Another unmistakable sign is a growing joy in serving others. Simple acts of kindness, encouragement, or support feel more fulfilling than personal gain. This joy demonstrates that your actions are in harmony with spiritual purpose. Serving others strengthens character and reinforces priorities. By uplifting those around you, you cultivate patience, empathy, and faith-driven action. God uses this natural inclination to ensure that your influence is purposeful and aligned with His will. The joy of service also creates momentum. Positive actions attract meaningful connections, opportunities, and experiences that further your journey. Each act of kindness becomes a reinforcement of spiritual alignment and growth. If you notice that helping others feels effortless and deeply rewarding, take it as a sign God is confirming your path and encouraging consistent actions that reflect purpose and faith. Faith often manifests through increasing resilience during trials. Challenges no longer paralyze or frustrate you. Instead, they teach patience, reliance, and understanding. You emerge stronger, wiser, and more focused with each experience. Resilience nurtures endurance. You learn to navigate difficulties with confidence, knowing that God uses these moments to shape character and prepare you for future opportunities. Setbacks are transformed into stepping stones rather than obstacles. This resilience also strengthens perspective. You begin to see trials as temporary and purposeful, understanding that growth often emerges from struggle. Faith provides clarity, showing that each challenge carries lessons that align with divine guidance. If you notice that challenges no longer shake your peace or determination, take it as a sign. God is building strength and confirming that your path is aligned with His plan. A sign of walking on God's path is an increasing awareness of spiritual guidance in small decisions. Even everyday choices start to carry a sense of purpose. And you notice that some options naturally feel right, while others feel heavy or misaligned. This awareness builds confidence in judgment. Decisions no longer rely solely on logic or external validation, but are guided by a sense of inner knowing that reflects God's direction. Each correct choice reinforces trust in this guidance. Spiritual guidance also fosters attentiveness. You begin to notice subtle signs, patterns, and prompts in your surroundings that help navigate life. God uses these cues to ensure your steps are purposeful and aligned with His plan. If you notice that small decisions are increasingly guided by intuition or divine insight, take it as a sign. God is shaping your path and confirming that your journey is intentional and aligned with His purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a growing sense of clarity about personal goals. You begin to understand what truly matters for your spiritual growth, relationships, and life purpose. Confusion diminishes as priorities become clear and focused. Clarity in goals strengthens action. You act with intention, investing energy in areas that align with purpose while letting go of distractions. God uses this focus to guide your steps and ensure each effort contributes to meaningful growth. This understanding also nurtures discipline. By recognizing what is important, you avoid wasting time on inconsequential matters and can dedicate attention to actions that strengthen faith and character. Each step becomes more effective and purposeful. If you notice that priorities and goals feel clear and actionable, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and helping you invest in the areas that matter most for your journey. Faith often manifests through a natural attraction to encouragement and positivity. You gravitate toward environments, teachings, and people that uplift, inspire, and promote growth while avoiding negativity or unhelpful influences. This attraction refines judgment. You instinctively seek connections and experiences that support your spiritual journey, allowing God to shape your path and protect your focus. Distractions and harmful influences feel less appealing. The shift also strengthens relationships. Those who align with your purpose naturally become part of your journey, providing guidance, support, and inspiration. God uses this process to ensure that interactions foster growth and spiritual alignment. If you notice a consistent draw toward positive influence and away from negativity, take it as a sign. God is orchestrating your environment to reinforce alignment and purpose on your path. A sign of walking on God's path is the development of emotional resilience. You find that stressful situations or conflicts no longer dominate your emotions. Instead, you respond calmly, trusting that each experience carries a purpose for growth. Resilience strengthens perspective. You begin to see obstacles as temporary and instructive rather than permanent setbacks. God uses these moments to cultivate patience, wisdom, and the ability to navigate challenges with faith. This emotional strength also enhances decision-making. When faced with choices, fear or anxiety no longer clouds judgment. Instead, clarity guided by faith helps determine the next step with confidence and intentionality. If you notice that stress or conflict no longer overwhelms you, take it as a sign. God is shaping your character and confirming that your path is aligned with His divine purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a heightened sensitivity to spiritual nudges. You may notice repeated thoughts, signs, or subtle feelings prompting certain actions or guiding decisions. These moments are indicators that God is actively directing your steps. Sensitivity to nudges encourages mindfulness. You become more aware of opportunities, challenges, and lessons in everyday life. Each nudge, when followed, strengthens your alignment with purpose and builds trust in divine guidance. This awareness also cultivates humility. You understand that guidance comes not solely from intellect, but through faith, observation, and attentiveness. Each prompt becomes a lesson in reliance on God's wisdom. If you notice frequent, meaningful nudges influencing your choices, take it as a sign. God is actively guiding your path and confirming that your journey is purposeful and divinely orchestrated. Faith often reveals itself through a growing sense of joy in simplicity. You find peace and satisfaction in small victories, quiet moments, or simple acts of faith. This joy reflects alignment with God's will and the fulfillment of purpose. Joy in simplicity strengthens gratitude. By recognizing value in ordinary experiences, you cultivate patience, contentment, and focus, which deepens your spiritual awareness and strengthens faith. This joy also inspires generosity. When contentment comes naturally, you are more willing to give time, energy, and support to others, reinforcing alignment with purpose and spiritual growth. If you notice consistent joy in simple, faithful actions, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and ensuring that each step aligns with His divine plan. A sign of walking on God's path is an increased awareness of meaningful timing. Events, opportunities, or encounters happen exactly when needed, often in ways that seem perfectly orchestrated. This awareness reflects divine coordination in your journey. Recognizing meaningful timing strengthens patience. You no longer feel pressured to force outcomes, but trust that God's plan unfolds at the right moment. Each well-timed event builds confidence and faith in divine guidance. This awareness also enhances discernment. You begin to differentiate between actions that require immediate attention and those that should be delayed, allowing God's timing to shape decisions effectively. If you notice that opportunities and answers consistently appear at the right time, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and ensuring that each step aligns with His purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a deepening sense of gratitude. You begin to notice small blessings, answered prayers, and daily provisions more clearly. Gratitude becomes a natural response and strengthens spiritual awareness. Gratitude nurtures perspective. Challenges no longer feel purely burdensome. They highlight lessons, growth opportunities, and preparation for future steps. God uses gratitude to reinforce trust and alignment with His plan. This appreciation also fosters generosity. Recognizing divine blessings encourages giving, supporting others, and investing in purposeful actions that amplify faith and positive impact. If you notice a growing tendency to appreciate small and significant blessings alike, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and reinforcing your journey with encouragement and provision. Faith often manifests through clarity and discerning purpose-driven actions. You instinctively prioritize tasks, decisions, and interactions that contribute to spiritual growth and long-term goals while avoiding distractions or unnecessary detours. Purpose-driven clarity strengthens focus. By acting intentionally, you conserve energy, make progress efficiently, and ensure that your steps are aligned with God's guidance and plan. This clarity also reinforces confidence. You no longer feel uncertain about where to invest time and effort, as actions naturally reflect alignment with divine direction. Each purposeful step reinforces spiritual awareness and momentum. If you notice that actions, decisions, and priorities feel naturally purposeful, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and guiding each step to maximize spiritual growth and alignment. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing sense of patience with life's unfolding. You no longer rush outcomes or feel anxious when delays occur. Instead, you trust that each moment is part of a bigger plan. Patience strengthens faith. You approach challenges and waiting periods with calm assurance, knowing that God's timing is perfect. This trust allows decisions to be made thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Patience also enhances perspective. What once felt like a setback now appears as preparation for a greater opportunity. Each pause in progress reinforces understanding that growth often requires time and alignment with divine guidance. If you notice that waiting feels purposeful rather than frustrating, take it as a sign. God is shaping your journey and confirming that your steps are aligned with His timing and purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a deepening sense of clarity in relationships. You naturally recognize people who contribute positively to your growth, purpose, and faith, while those who misalign with your path gradually drift away. This clarity strengthens discernment. You invest energy and time wisely, focusing on connections that uplift and inspire, while avoiding interactions that drain or distract. God uses relationships to confirm alignment with your purpose. Clarity also fosters peace. By surrounding yourself with supportive influences, you reduce unnecessary conflict and stress, allowing spiritual growth to flourish. Each meaningful connection reinforces guidance and strengthens trust in God's orchestration. If you notice that relationships naturally fall into place or realign according to purpose, take it as a sign. God is guiding your journey and protecting your focus on what truly matters. Faith often manifests through a natural inclination toward reflection and prayer. You instinctively pause to seek guidance, evaluate decisions, or contemplate experiences, creating space for spiritual insight. Reflection strengthens discernment. Through prayer and contemplation, patterns, opportunities, and lessons become clearer, allowing more intentional and purpose-driven actions. God uses reflection to illuminate the next step in your journey. This practice also nurtures peace. By dedicating time to spiritual connection, anxiety diminishes, and decisions feel guided rather than forced. Each moment of reflection reinforces alignment with purpose. If you notice that seeking quiet reflection and guidance has become a natural habit, take it as a sign. God is actively guiding your path, shaping decisions, and confirming that your steps are purposeful and aligned with His plan. A sign of walking on God's path is an increasing awareness of spiritual opportunities. You notice chances to grow, serve, or learn that previously went unseen, often arriving at the right moment to advance your journey. Recognizing opportunities strengthens confidence. You feel guided rather than pressured, knowing that these moments are part of a larger plan. Each action taken in alignment with these opportunities builds trust in God's guidance. This awareness also nurtures responsiveness. You act with intention, seizing moments that foster growth, while avoiding distractions or misaligned choices. God uses these opportunities to confirm alignment and accelerate purpose-driven progress. If you notice that meaningful opportunities seem to appear at just the right time, take it as a sign God is orchestrating your path and ensuring that your steps support His divine purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a deepening sense of gratitude for growth experiences. Challenges, lessons, and even setbacks begin to be seen as blessings because they contribute to spiritual and personal development. Gratitude enhances perspective. You begin to recognize that every situation, pleasant or difficult, carries lessons that shape character, faith, and purpose. God uses these experiences to guide your next steps. This recognition also fosters patience. By appreciating the journey rather than rushing to the outcome, you cultivate trust, resilience, and clarity, which strengthens spiritual alignment and confidence. If you notice that you can find gratitude even in difficult experiences, take it as a sign God is guiding your journey, ensuring that each step nurtures growth and prepares you for purpose. Faith often manifests through a sense of alignment with your life's rhythm. Your actions, decisions, and habits begin to feel natural, purposeful, and synchronized with God's plan, creating ease and direction in daily life. Alignment strengthens focus. Energy is invested in meaningful pursuits rather than wasted on distractions or unproductive patterns. God uses this natural flow to ensure that each step is intentional and growth-oriented. This alignment also fosters peace. When actions feel guided and purposeful, stress and confusion diminish, and confidence in each decision grows. Spiritual awareness deepens as you trust your path. If you notice that your daily actions and decisions feel naturally purposeful and aligned, take it as a sign God is confirming your journey and guiding each step toward His intended plan. A sign of walking on God's path is an emerging sense of discernment in conversations. You notice which discussions inspire growth and which feel draining or misaligned with purpose. Discernment in speech strengthens relationships. You naturally gravitate toward uplifting dialogue and avoid arguments or gossip that derail focus. God uses this awareness to protect your energy and guide your influence. This skill also enhances intuition. You begin to understand when guidance or wisdom is being offered and when to pause or listen before acting. Each interaction becomes purposeful and intentional. If you notice that conversations now leave you inspired rather than exhausted, take it as a sign God is confirming your alignment and guiding your connections with intention. Another unmistakable sign is a natural attraction toward learning and growth. You are drawn to knowledge, spiritual teachings, or new skills that strengthen your journey rather than temporary pleasures. This attraction encourages purposeful action. By seeking wisdom, you invest in opportunities that align with God's plan, fostering confidence, clarity, and readiness for future challenges. Learning also reinforces perspective. Lessons gained are applied to daily decisions, revealing patterns that highlight alignment and spiritual insight. Each step deepens trust in divine guidance. If you notice that growth and learning now feel more appealing than comfort or distraction, take it as a sign. God is guiding your development and confirming your path. Faith often manifests through the ability to remain calm in uncertainty. Situations that once caused worry now are met with patience and a sense of assurance that God is directing outcomes. Calmness strengthens judgment. You make decisions without panic or haste, relying on faith to navigate challenges while maintaining focus and clarity. This sense of peace also fosters perseverance. Obstacles are no longer deterrents, but opportunities to rely on divine guidance and learn valuable lessons. If you notice that uncertainty no longer overwhelms you, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and equipping you to move forward with wisdom and trust. A sign of walking on God's path is experiencing clarity in priorities. You can distinguish what actions, relationships, or commitments truly align with purpose and which distract from meaningful progress. Clarity strengthens intentionality. Time and energy are directed toward pursuits that contribute to spiritual growth, ensuring that each effort supports alignment with God's plan. This focus also fosters peace. By letting go of unnecessary distractions, stress diminishes, and progress becomes more consistent and measurable. If you notice that choices now feel guided and purposeful, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and shaping your journey with intention. Another unmistakable sign is the ability to see lessons in challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as setbacks, you recognize the wisdom and growth embedded in every difficulty. Seeing lessons strengthens resilience. You approach trials with curiosity rather than fear, understanding that each experience shapes character, faith, and perspective. This mindset also enhances gratitude. Appreciating challenges cultivates a deeper awareness of God's presence and guidance, even in moments of struggle. If you notice that hardships now feel purposeful rather than burdensome, take it as a sign. God is guiding your journey and reinforcing spiritual growth through every experience. Faith often reveals itself through a natural desire to serve others. Acts of kindness, guidance, or encouragement bring fulfillment and purpose, even without recognition. Service strengthens character. By investing in the well-being of others, you reinforce empathy, patience, and intentionality while aligning your actions with God's plan. This inclination also builds connections. Meaningful interactions with others create supportive relationships that advance growth and purpose on your path. If you notice that serving others feels effortless and rewarding, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and nurturing your purpose through acts of kindness. A sign of walking on God's path is growing attunement to intuition. You notice when a decision or path feels right or wrong, even without logical explanation, signaling divine guidance. Intuition strengthens decision-making. By trusting inner guidance, you navigate opportunities with clarity and confidence, avoiding distractions and misalignment. This awareness also fosters protection. Choices guided by intuition often prevent unnecessary setbacks, ensuring that each step advances purpose and growth. If you notice that instincts increasingly guide successful or meaningful choices, take it as a sign. God is shaping discernment and reinforcing alignment with His plan. Another unmistakable sign is peace during transitions. Changes that once brought anxiety now feel manageable and purposeful, signaling trust in God's orchestration. Peace enhances adaptability. You can navigate new roles, responsibilities, or environments with confidence, embracing growth opportunities without fear. This calm perspective also strengthens resilience. By trusting the process, challenges associated with change become lessons rather than obstacles. If you notice that transitions now feel purposeful and manageable, take it as a sign. God is confirming your journey and guiding steps during times of change. Faith often manifests through increased awareness of blessings. Small, timely provisions or moments of encouragement serve as reminders of God's presence and guidance in your life. Awareness of blessings strengthens gratitude. By recognizing divine support, you cultivate optimism, resilience, and motivation to continue pursuing purpose-driven actions. This recognition also fosters hope. Even in challenging circumstances, moments of provision confirm that the journey is intentional and guided. If you notice frequent blessings or helpful interventions, take it as a sign. God is actively orchestrating your path and confirming alignment with His plan. A sign of walking on God's path is natural attraction to spiritual reflection. You seek moments of quiet meditation or prayer to evaluate choices, learn lessons, and gain clarity. Reflection strengthens insight. By pausing to consider experiences, you understand patterns and decisions more clearly, making purpose-driven actions more consistent. This habit also nurtures peace. Moments of reflection provide calm, reduce confusion, and reinforce trust in God's timing and guidance. If you notice that reflection and prayer have become a natural part of life, take it as a sign. God is guiding your journey and reinforcing alignment with His purpose. A sign of walking on God's path is an increasing sense of clarity in life's purpose. You begin to understand why certain experiences, challenges, and opportunities occur, seeing the bigger picture of growth. Clarity strengthens focus. You can prioritize actions, relationships, and decisions that align with your spiritual journey while avoiding distractions that do not contribute to purpose. This awareness also builds confidence. Knowing the direction of your journey reduces fear of mistakes and reinforces trust in God's timing and plan. If you notice that your sense of purpose feels more defined and guiding your choices, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and illuminating your path. Another unmistakable sign is an ability to embrace change gracefully. Situations that once caused fear or hesitation now feel like opportunities for growth and alignment with God's plan. Embracing change strengthens adaptability. You respond to transitions with calmness and faith, allowing lessons to unfold naturally and opportunities to manifest. This perspective also nurtures patience. By understanding that change is part of divine timing, you are less anxious and more willing to trust the process. If you notice that you navigate change with ease and purpose, take it as a sign. God is guiding your journey and ensuring that every shift advances your growth. Faith often reveals itself through increased alignment between actions and values. You naturally choose behaviors, relationships, and decisions that reflect your beliefs and purpose. Alignment strengthens authenticity. Living in a way that mirrors faith and values attracts opportunities and people who reinforce spiritual growth. God uses this congruence to ensure that your steps are meaningful. This alignment also fosters inner peace. Conflicting choices or external pressures have less influence, allowing you to move forward with clarity and confidence. If you notice that your choices consistently reflect your spiritual values, take it as a sign. God is confirming that your path aligns with His purpose. A sign of walking on God's path is experiencing a growing ability to forgive. Past hurts, mistakes, or offenses no longer carry the same weight, and letting go feels natural and freeing. Forgiveness strengthens emotional health. By releasing resentment, you free energy to focus on growth, faith, and purpose rather than dwelling on negativity. This ability also enhances relationships. By forgiving, you foster understanding, peace, and stronger connections with others, reinforcing alignment with God's guidance. If you notice that forgiveness comes more easily and naturally, take it as a sign. God is shaping your heart, guiding your actions, and confirming your path. Another unmistakable sign is a growing sense of gratitude for small moments. Ordinary events begin to feel significant, revealing God's hand in daily life and reinforcing spiritual awareness. Gratitude strengthens perspective. You recognize that even minor experiences contribute to growth, learning, and alignment with purpose. Each acknowledgement builds trust in divine orchestration. This practice also fosters contentment. By appreciating small blessings, anxiety diminishes and motivation to pursue purposeful actions increases. If you notice that you naturally feel thankful for daily experiences, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and nurturing spiritual growth through awareness and gratitude. Faith often manifests through heightened discernment of opportunities. You can see which paths or decisions will enhance growth and which may distract or delay purpose even before external outcomes are evident. Discernment strengthens decision-making. You act with confidence, avoiding choices that waste time, energy, or spiritual focus. God uses this ability to align each step with purpose. This awareness also fosters attentiveness. Subtle signs, coincidences, or patterns in life become guides that confirm your alignment and next steps. If you notice that opportunities naturally feel aligned or misaligned, take it as a sign. God is directing your path and ensuring purposeful progress. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing sense of peace during adversity. Situations that would normally create stress or fear are met with calm assurance and confidence in divine guidance. Peace strengthens resilience. Challenges are no longer obstacles, but lessons that shape character, strengthen faith, and prepare you for future opportunities. This calm perspective also improves clarity. Decisions are made intentionally, free from anxiety, and guided by insight and trust rather than fear. If you notice that difficulties no longer shake your peace, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and building strength to navigate challenges with wisdom. Another unmistakable sign is a heightened awareness of divine timing. Events, encounters, or solutions often arrive exactly when needed, revealing orchestration beyond human planning. Awareness of timing fosters patience. You learn to wait without frustration, trusting that God's plan is unfolding perfectly and that each step contributes to growth. This understanding also reinforces confidence. Knowing that circumstances align with divine timing reduces stress and uncertainty, allowing you to act purposefully when the moment is right. If you notice that outcomes often occur at just the right time, take it as a sign. God is guiding your steps and confirming that your journey is aligned with His plan. Faith often reveals itself through natural motivation to serve and uplift others. Actions that bring encouragement, support, or guidance feel fulfilling and purposeful, without expectation of reward. Service strengthens character and spiritual growth. By acting in alignment with God's plan, you cultivate patience, empathy, and joy while reinforcing meaningful impact. This inclination also fosters community. Meaningful interactions attract supportive relationships and opportunities to grow, creating momentum for spiritual and personal development. If you notice that helping others brings fulfillment naturally, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and nurturing purpose through acts of service. A sign of walking on God's path is the ability to recognize lessons in everyday life. Challenges, successes, or even routine events carry insights that guide decisions and clarify purpose. Recognizing lessons strengthens discernment. You can act intentionally and avoid repeating past mistakes, ensuring that each step advances spiritual and personal growth. This practice also fosters gratitude. Understanding the meaning behind experiences encourages appreciation for both progress and challenges, reinforcing faith and perspective. If you notice that daily experiences naturally provide insights or guidance, take it as a sign. God is shaping your journey and confirming your alignment with His divine plan. A sign of walking on God's path is an increasing sense of inner peace in decision-making. Choices that once caused doubt now feel guided, and the right action becomes clearer. Inner peace strengthens confidence. You no longer rely solely on external advice or validation, but trust that God is directing your steps and providing insight at the right moment. This awareness also reduces anxiety. By acting from clarity rather than confusion, you conserve energy, make purposeful progress, and align with divine timing. If you notice that decisions feel calm, natural, and guided, take it as a sign God is confirming your path and ensuring each step reflects His plan. Another unmistakable sign is a growing sense of joy in personal growth. Learning, spiritual development, or overcoming challenges brings fulfillment rather than burden. Joy in growth strengthens motivation. You are encouraged to continue pursuing purpose-driven actions and embrace lessons that reinforce faith and clarity. This joy also enhances resilience. Difficulties no longer feel discouraging because each challenge is an opportunity to grow closer to God's plan. If you notice that personal growth feels exciting and rewarding, take it as a sign God is guiding your journey and confirming alignment with His purpose. Faith often manifests through an instinctive ability to avoid distractions. You naturally focus on meaningful tasks, while less important activities feel less appealing or draining. Focus strengthens productivity. Energy is directed toward purposeful actions, ensuring that your steps contribute to spiritual growth and long-term alignment with God's plan. This clarity also fosters discipline. By concentrating on what matters most, you create a consistent, intentional path that reflects trust in divine guidance. If you notice that you are naturally drawn to what is meaningful, take it as a sign God is shaping your path and confirming that your journey is purposeful. A sign of walking on God's path is experiencing a deepened awareness of divine protection. Situations that could lead to harm or setbacks seem to resolve favorably, often in ways that feel guided. Divine protection strengthens courage. You approach challenges with confidence, knowing that guidance and oversight are supporting each step of your journey. This awareness also builds faith. Recognizing protection in daily life reinforces trust in God's presence, timing, and plan for your growth. If you notice that potentially harmful situations resolve unexpectedly, take it as a sign God is actively safeguarding your journey and confirming alignment. Another unmistakable sign is a natural attraction toward uplifting environments. People, teachings, or spaces that inspire faith and growth now feel more appealing than negativity or distraction. This attraction strengthens discernment. You naturally choose environments that foster spiritual alignment, protection, and meaningful connections. The shift also nurtures confidence. By surrounding yourself with supportive influences, you can act boldly in alignment with God's purpose. If you notice that uplifting environments feel more natural to seek, take it as a sign God is guiding your surroundings to ensure that your path supports growth and alignment. Faith often reveals itself through the ability to see opportunities in challenges. Difficult situations are no longer only obstacles, but gateways for growth, learning, and preparation for future steps. Seeing opportunity strengthens perspective. You begin to approach trials strategically, understanding the lesson or benefit embedded in each experience. This mindset also enhances resilience. You are more willing to persevere, knowing that God uses challenges to refine character, faith, and readiness. If you notice that difficulties increasingly feel like opportunities, take it as a sign God is confirming your path and ensuring that every step contributes to purpose. A sign of walking on God's path is the natural development of spiritual patience. Waiting periods, delays, or uncertainty no longer bring frustration but are accepted as part of divine timing. Patience strengthens clarity. You can observe circumstances without rushing, allowing decisions and actions to unfold in alignment with God's plan. This mindset also enhances peace. Anxiety diminishes, and each moment of waiting becomes an opportunity for reflection, growth, and preparation. If you notice that waiting no longer feels stressful, take it as a sign God is shaping your journey and preparing your steps for alignment with His purpose. Another unmistakable sign is a growing sensitivity to guidance. Subtle prompts, intuition, or repeated thoughts begin to influence decisions in ways that feel intentional and purposeful. Sensitivity to guidance strengthens discernment. By listening carefully, you can act with confidence, avoiding misalignment and making choices that advance spiritual growth. This awareness also fosters gratitude. Recognizing guidance reinforces trust in God's plan and encourages attentive, intentional steps in daily life. If you notice that subtle guidance increasingly impacts choices, take it as a sign. God is directing your path and confirming your alignment with His plan. Faith often manifests through increased trust in divine timing. Events, encounters, and blessings appear exactly when they are needed, reducing anxiety and reinforcing belief in God's orchestration. Trust strengthens patience. You learn to act at the right moment, avoiding hasty decisions that may lead to misalignment or frustration. This understanding also builds perspective. Even delays or obstacles are recognized as purposeful steps in the journey, ensuring readiness for future opportunities. If you notice that timing consistently feels perfect, take it as a sign. God is confirming your path and guiding each step with intentional precision. A sign of walking on God's path is a growing sense of fulfillment in purpose-driven actions. Tasks, decisions, and relationships that align with faith now feel rewarding and meaningful. Fulfillment strengthens motivation. By pursuing actions that reflect spiritual alignment, you develop focus, clarity, and consistency in walking the path God intended. This sense of purpose also enhances joy. Knowing that your actions have meaning fosters confidence, resilience, and trust in the journey. If you notice that purposeful actions bring natural satisfaction, take it as a sign. God is confirming your alignment and guiding your steps toward long-term spiritual growth. Walking on God's path is marked by subtle, yet unmistakable signs, from inner peace and clarity to discernment, patience, and alignment with purpose. Each indication confirms divine guidance in your life. Spiritual growth manifests in many ways, through intuition, gratitude, resilience, joy in service, and the ability to see lessons in challenges. God's presence is evident in daily choices, timing, relationships, and opportunities. Recognizing these signs reinforces trust and strengthens faith. They serve as reminders that every step, obstacle, and blessing is part of a purposeful journey designed for spiritual growth and alignment. By observing these signals and acting in harmony with them, you walk confidently on God's path, knowing that your life is guided, protected, and aligned with a divine purpose that brings peace, fulfillment, and lasting transformation.